over the past year, I've been generating over $111,000 per month in revenue from YouTube ads alone. And in this video, I'm going to give you 5 new YouTube tricks which you can implement right now to scale your e-commerce brand with YouTube campaigns. Now, one thing you want to understand about YouTube before we get into any of these 5 tips and tricks is YouTube is very much similar to Facebook ads. If you're already running Facebook ads for your e-commerce brand, then you know that Facebook is all about creative testing. Unfortunately, there's no way out. But with that, the first trick when it comes to YouTube ads to ensure you scale to the moon with your e-commerce brand is you need to supercharge your algorithm for YouTube ads campaigns. Now, I'm gonna give you a perfect example of an e-commerce brand we're running YouTube ads for under my Google Ads agency, Your Marketing. And right now, as you can see in the last kind of 30-day period, it's running at a 2.50x ROAS. This is great for this brand because the break even is a 1.7x. So YouTube ads are pretty much crushing it. We have been able to generate roughly just 34,000 Australian dollars for this brand. But when I say supercharge your YouTube ads algorithm, I'm talking about the specific audience lists which you end up adding to your YouTube ads campaign. So within the YouTube ads campaign right here, what you want to do is you want to go on over to the audiences section, and within the audiences section, from audience segments, you have the ability to add different audience segments. If you look right here, we already have 2 audience segments added to this YouTube ads campaign, and I personally believe these 2 audience segments single-handedly are the reason why this YouTube ads campaign is doing so well. If we go ahead and click edit audience segments, we can see exactly what these audience segments are and what you should be doing for your YouTube ads campaign. First audience segment is essentially a full-on customer list that we exported from the Shopify backend, from GA4, etc., and gather all of this data to then add to the Google Ads backend. Because when you do that, you now have the ability to add these audience lists directly into your YouTube ads campaigns. And that's the first thing we did. Second thing we did is we added all of the customer lists from Klaviyo, so all of the emails that customers have given us, and we exported those essentially from Klaviyo and added them back to the Google Ads account. It doesn't matter if you use Klaviyo or not. You could be using any other email marketing software, but you should have the ability to do this. And these 2 audience segments alone have supercharged this YouTube ads algorithm, because now there's very little guesswork, because these audience lists, as you see right here, are over 25 to 36,000 in audience size individually. That's a lot of members within this audience. And this alone, when you add it to your YouTube ads campaign, what happens is now the YouTube ads algorithm starts to look within this audience list to find similarities between the people it's trying to go after in terms of cold traffic. Basically, it starts connecting the dots. It has a much easier time finding the perfect audience. It has a much easier time than achieving a good level of skill profitably. But if you plan to run YouTube ads campaigns, or if you already have YouTube ads campaigns going on, this is the first thing you need to have done, because this then directly ties into the second tip and trick which you should implement for YouTube. And this has more to do with the YouTube ad strategy itself. It's what I call the One3 approach. Now, if we go back to this YouTube ad campaign right here, go back to the campaign section, then go within the ad groups. As you can see, we have only one ad group within here, which satisfies the first portion of the One3 approach. Now, the 3 of the One3 approach essentially refers to the ad copies within the YouTube ad group itself. You want to have 3 ad copies which you are testing at any given time, just like we do right here. Now, the type of ad copy you have is pretty much irrelevant. It's similar to Facebook ads, where you want to try different sorts of creatives, different sorts of wording, different people in the YouTube videos, testimonials showing the product in action, so on and so forth. But the main thing is you need to be testing 3 at any given time. Now, for us, with this brand right here, what we have found, and also across the majority of the brands, is YouTube short placements work the absolute best. Usually the shorter it is, meaning between 30 seconds to 90 seconds, and the quicker it is, the better it performs. And testing these 3 ad creatives all together gives you, first of all, the idea of what's going to work better, whether it's short placement or just a normal kind of horizontal placement video, but also which kind of creatives your audience wants to see. Now, I personally recommend you try both. However, once you find a clear winner, and in most cases it might be shorts placement, then you want to start focusing more on shorts, which is exactly what we do for this brand right here. Now, the main thing we are focusing on when we're looking at these YouTube creatives is a few different things. First of all, we're looking at the conversion rates, because we want to make sure basically the ad creative which we are going after is converting the best. But essentially, we're also trying to look at how much people are looking through the video. So if it's a clear winner, as you can see, there's a night and day difference between how much a user views each consecutive period. So 25%, it's almost 3 3 times. It's also right here, almost 3 times. So each one of these is 3 to 5 times higher, which means this first creative, it's a clear winner. And once we find a clear winner, then it's more about iteration and implementing more of those similar creatives. But this is exactly what we do for this brand. And if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a free call with me, then let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen. But the next tip and trick we have is the content suitability section. Now, with YouTube ads, this becomes super important because when we go on over to the insights and report section, when we go to when and where ads were showed, we can see that a lot of your ads will end up showing up across a wide variety of different placements, not just YouTube placement itself, but things like mobile apps, news placements. If you go further, you'll see all kinds of these random websites which you end up showing your YouTube ads for. And this realistically is not an ideal approach because at the end of the day, you could rank for thousands and thousands of placements, most of them which are completely garbage. So to ensure you're efficiently spending your money, to ensure you're not just wasting your budget on random placement, you want to ensure that you have your content suitability section on point. And the best way to do that is to go over to content suitability right here from tools. And then when you scroll all the way down, you'll have different options of what you can exclude. So normally what I like to do is I like to go through excluded placements. I like to basically exclude all of the mobile apps from their Apple App Store as well as the Google Play Store. And I also like to exclude certain YouTube channels, which I know for sure my videos would rank for. Again, if you're not sure what YouTube channels or YouTube videos your videos will end up ranking for, you can wait to gather some data and then from the insights section, figure this information out and then go ahead and exclude it here. But super important to at least exclude all of these apps right here. And you can also exclude all these other things such as sensitive content. You can also go and exclude things like park domains, live streaming videos, and YouTube videos, so on and so forth, because in most situations, users who are watching videos that are basically live or emmed videos, they're not necessarily going to be wanting to purchase anything. And finally, you can also exclude certain kinds of content themes because this directly ties into where your YouTube ads show up. But fourth tip and trick, you want to incorporate bi-weekly ad copy testing. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is very similar to Facebook ad creatives because you have to generally test creatives on a consistent basis if you want your results to also be consistent. It doesn't have to be as crazy as testing brand new creatives every week because with YouTube and Google Ads in general, it's more of a time-based platform. It requires that you give the algorithm enough time to optimize and basically become smarter over time. So bi-weekly YouTube creative testing is more than enough. Essentially, the best strategy here is to go with your best performer, whatever it is, shut up the others which are not performing well, and then test this best performer against 2 other ad copies. So at any given time, you have maybe 3 ad copies running, and you're essentially trying to analyze the view rate and the video played to rate percentage. So what I mean by this is, again, if we go back to the campaign section, look at the YouTube ad campaign itself, we can see that right here on the campaign level, there's something called the view rate. So in stream, there's 12% viewers, so 12% of the total video was viewed. In feed, 0.07%, shorts, 6.5%. These are very important metrics because it lets you know exactly what's working versus what's not working. But then if you go inside to the ad creative and the ad copy section itself, then you want to look at the video played to ratio, and you want to again ensure that the videos which you are basically looking at have a high video played to percentage. So 75% to 100% is ideally what you want to be looking at, and 100% you want to be between 5% to maybe 15% or so. That means that video creative is actually very good, and these metrics will let you know what's working. Then you can create more creatives based around that, which is already what's working. But final tip and trick for YouTube ad campaigns: implement a smart bidding strategy. You don't want to go after any types of other bidding strategy besides something that's not smart. Ideally, we like to go after maximize conversions as we did with this campaign right here. There are other options that you can do in terms of what bidding strategy you go after. So for instance, if you go on over to settings, we can see that in terms of bidding strategy, you have the ability to do things like target CPA, maximize conversion value, target ROAS, etc. You can even, in some situation, you can even do things like maximum cost per view, target CPM, viewable CPM. These are basically allowable based on the conversion goal you are going after. But in general, what you want to be doing is you want to be going after a maximized conversion bidding strategy. And in reality, what we like to do is we don't like to set too many restrictions with YouTube campaigns. Ideally, no target ROAS or no target CPA to ensure that it's going after a broader audience. Once it finds the right audience, then you can incorporate some restrictions, especially if the profitability is not there. But generally, if the profitability is there, you want to let it just run without any restriction. But again, if you run a brand doing $1 million a year, you need extra help scaling your brand to the next level, go onto my website at yourmarketing.com, schedule a free call with me, and let's see if we can potentially work together and make that happen.